Arlington residents brave a torrential thunderstorm to let their voices be heard over a proposed 50-room boutique hotel and restaurant on Mass Ave. At issue, parking, traffic, and safety. And what to do about the increasing coyote population in town. There's a meeting on the schedule to answer those very concerns. We'll have a preview, but it is very likely the days of letting your dog and cat roam unsupervised are over. Road crews get to work along many Arlington corridors. Where can you walk and drive, and what areas should you avoid? We'll have a complete report that gives you a roadmap for the rest of the summer. If you have a pet dog, ACMi has the perfect way for you and your four-legged owner to weather the July-August heat. All you need is you, a camera, and your furry A-list star.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
It was a jam-packed Lions conference room at Town Hall for the latest Arlington Redevelopment Board meeting. Hello, I'm James Milan.
And I'm Eleni Kaminas. Residents were weighing in on that proposed hotel in the Heights we told you about last week. The proposed 50-room boutique hotel and restaurant would be built on the site of the long-closed Disabled American Veterans Social Club and the automotive repair shop that still operates next door. The developer is headed by James Doherty, a former member of Arlington's Board of Assessors and the current assistant assessor in Burlington. Even though some town leaders say this venture could bring in as much as $150,000 in annual tax revenue, some board members raise concerns over congestion, parking, and safety. Some residents living near the proposed site braved evening thunder showers to attend the meeting to echo those same sentiments.
So I think the hotel proposal, or the hotel, would make this traffic issue much worse than what we now up to almost at the breaking point. Right. The second issue that I like to bring is the safety issues, and logically, the traffic issues is leading to the safety issue. And especially the out-of-town guests of the hotel. Thank you. When they encounter this unusual interaction to face the pedestrian traffic, bicycles, buses, snowplows, automobiles, garbage trucks, FedEx, UPS, fire truck, ambulances, they will be confused. Okay? And who will suffer? Maybe our children.
Another hearing on this controversial matter is set for September.
You may already know, many Arlington residents depend on the Red Line to get to and from school or work. And already, riders are not pleased with recent rate hikes. And derailments certainly don't help either. This week, the MBTA released disturbing video of that Red Line derailment that occurred on June 11th. This accident is expected to inconvenience passengers for at least the next few weeks. You can see in the upper center part of your screen, a Red Line train approaches a platform at the JFK UMass stop. And as it nears the stop, a series of small explosions and sparks can be seen as the third car of the train jumps the tracks. Then, sparks fly from the nearby infrastructure and flames can also be seen before the train comes to a stop near the platform. A signal system building was heavily damaged in the process. No word on a cause for the accident, but human error has been ruled out. The MBTA hopes to restore service between Broadway and JFK UMass by mid-August. If you're having a tough time driving or even parking along certain sections of Mystic Street, you're not alone. Crews from Eversource and Clean Harbors are conducting maintenance and safety operations in the underground infrastructure. Weather permitting, crews are on site between 8 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. As a result, certain parking restrictions remain in effect until the work is complete. Traffic is open in both directions and managed by a police detail. All work should be complete by month's end.
That's just one of many road projects currently underway from East Arlington to the Heights. ACMi News intern Michael Cerullo says work crews have a hard deadline to get things done before school starts and the chilly fall months set in.
Expect to see more signs like this one behind me in the coming weeks. Arlington's town engineer says that about 15 streets will need resurfacing work beginning on July 25th.
We kind of focus on busy streets, and we want to allow the morning commute and the evening commute to proceed without being impacted by that. So typically on a busy street, we try to start at 9 and finish by 3. But unfortunately, when that happens, it extends the duration of the project. So sometimes you have to weigh the the time of day and the impacts during work in order to finish up the projects sooner.
Chenard says that work around the Stratton and Ottoson schools is already underway, and occasionally, weather permitting, crews are working the late shift to make sure the task is complete before the start of the school year.
We kind of want both the Stratton School project to be done before school starts. We want the Mill Street and the Mystic Street work to be done before, the summer ends and the vacationers are back and the commuting volume increases.
Since crews work on many of these town projects on a yearly basis, construction patterns don't deviate much from previous years. One resident says although roadwork can be annoying, it's in the community's best interest to prevent rather than to repair.
It's typical, and really it's a 1 to 2 day inconvenience, but it's for the betterment of the town, for the betterment of, like I said previously, of drivers, because when you hit those potholes, you could wreck your car, and then who's liable for that, versus having the streets look good and being safe.
Chenard also stressed that the top priority in carrying out and completing these projects is always going to be safety.
If you're just driving through town, you're not going to have any notice of it, except that you'll see the work. And we always try to have a traffic police detail presence there to maintain traffic and safety.
Mike Cerullo, ACMi News.
And adding to all this, National Grid crews were busy on Mass Ave July 24th, just in front of the Stop and Shop. Utility workers were on hand to upgrade some pipes and to plug some minor gas leaks. The west side parking lot entrance to the Stop and Shop was closed to motorists for much of the day. Gas workers were finishing up and waiting for road crews to arrive so they could start repaving. Several parking spaces were also closed off until the work was finished. To learn more about road projects going on in your community, just go to the Arlington website at arlingtonma.gov. While many Bay Staters, including us, sweltered in some very oppressive heat earlier this week, a lot of us may be overlooking some of our most important neighbors, our trees. We all know that trees moderate the immediate climate around our homes and provide us with years of healthy air to breathe. Well-prolonged hot weather can stress trees, especially in their first few years of growth. And that's where these simple green tree bags can help. You just insert a hose directly into the slit of the bag at the tree base and make sure it's filled once a week. These convenient bags constantly release a steady flow of water into the ground, nourishing the tree's roots. If you want to know more about these tree bags, just call Arlington's Department of Public Works at 781-316-3104.
There's been an uptick in phone calls to Arlington's police department concerning recent coyote sightings right here in town. And that's raising some concerns among residents. It's an issue that pits wildlife preservation against human safety. There will be a meeting July 31st at Town Hall to address these concerns with residents. ACMi's Jeff Barnt talked to Arlington's animal control officer about these creatures that at one time were foreign to the Bay State, but it appears they like it here.
Coyotes are becoming increasingly common throughout the Bay State, turning up mainly in suburban and rural areas. What to do with them, if anything, is on the minds of many Arlington residents, an issue that is sure to be addressed at this week's meeting.
I have a deeper respect for them in their struggle for survival. I know it's a controversial subject. There's a lot of people who hate them, demanding that they're trapped and relocated. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of misunderstanding. But I think people will learn a lot at the meeting in terms of keeping your pets safe. And that's not to say children. People worry about children. And I always say, you don't need to worry about a coyote attacking your children or attacking you. Unless there was rabies, you never hear of coyotes attacking humans. They want dinner. They don't want to fight.
Unlike rural areas in towns like Arlington, coyotes don't have to travel as far for their meal, which means they can be our allies in addressing the town's ongoing pest problem.
I just learned last week that one fox can eat up to 20 pounds of rodents per day. So let's take that to a coyote who's a bit bigger than a fox. So it's probably about 25, maybe even, I'd say 25 pounds of rodents a day. They will eat because they don't know when they're getting their next meal, right? So they're very opportunistic hunters. There's plenty of rodents in Arlington for them to eat. There's plenty of rabbits. I have people complaining about the rabbits eating their plants, eating their gardens. What can I do to relocate them as well? So I think we need the coyotes for that balance in taking care of the rodents and the rabbits. Without them, we're going to have a lot more rodents. So it's kind of one or the other.
Research has shown these eastern canines are a hybrid species, very distinct from the western coyotes. Their DNA profile is roughly 60% western coyote, 30% wolf, and 10% dog. And while coyote attacks on people are extremely rare, they may prey on small cats and dogs.
The days of letting your little dog out to potty by itself are over. And that includes people who have a fence, a picket fence or a chain link fence. Coyotes can easily get over them. Those white plastic fences, fiberglass fences, tend to be a little bit safer because they're slippery. But there are things that people are putting on top of their fence, quite simple, and we'll talk about that at the meeting, that can help from getting keep from getting coyotes over your fence. But I don't like retractable leashes. You know, I don't feel like you have control over your little dog if you're out for a walk and it's off 10 feet over there. Coyotes love retractable leashes. I don't like them. I want a good leash, and I want that little dog next to you.
Welsh says she looks forward to the public meeting in a town whose residents are as curious about these creatures as they are of their human neighbors.
Arlington is very kind and compassionate towards animals, and they in turn have been very kind and compassionate to me, and I'm forever grateful for that.
For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnd.
Because the genetic makeup of the hybrid species includes wolves and dogs, animal experts frequently call them coy wolves. They are actually larger than the western coyote, which means they can ingest even more town pests. The public meeting is set for 7 p.m. on July 31st at Town Hall Auditorium.
There's a new area gift shop that's getting ready to open in September. It's called Handworks Gallery of American Crafts in Acton. Arlington's own Carla Dorado, also our esteemed ACMi news anchor, is the brand new owner. This shop at 161 Great Road features exotic scarves, handmade pottery, jewelry, artisan woodwork, and one-of-a-kind wall hangings. Carla is also the owner of the Artful Heart Gallery on Medford Street in Arlington. She says the previous owner of Handworks has retired and she has big shoes to fill.
It's actually really exciting. I mean, I love babies, and this is like having a baby. It's been so much fun, and I've met so many artists. I've had so much help from the community. Some of the women that in the embroidery group come in and they help me set up and tag things, and you know, everyone seems to be really, really invested, everyone in this community. You're gonna have a lot more pottery, a lot more finer art if you want. We're going to focus a little bit more locally than he did. I'd say on the things like glass and pottery. Jewelry is still going to be kind of a wider area of choice if you want, but it's a bigger store. It's 3 or 4 times the size of the Arlington store, so we have a lot more leeway in what we can carry, and so we're trying to carry some of the things that people love in Arlington, but there's going to be so much more pottery, woodwork, glass, things we just can't possibly do.
And people should not be concerned in Arlington because Artful Hearts is doing well. It's going to stay there.
Oh, absolutely. We have no intention of leaving. We are here in Arlington to stay for quite a while, at least until they throw us out.
Handworks has a soft opening next week. Even so, Carla tells us she already had her first customer this week. Handworks' grand opening is set for September.
And coming up on the other side of the break, this is very likely how many of our most famous movie directors, film crews, and even actors got their start following their dreams. ACMi served as a hands-on classroom all this week for area students looking to be the next Sofia Coppola or J.J. Abrams. It's all part of Arlington's Summer Fun Workshop, and we'll tell you all about it next.
And an update to a story we told you about 2 months ago regarding the monumental commitment Arlington just gave to its future high school students. What do today's students think about the opportunity future high schoolers are getting now that Arlington voted for the new $291 million school? Brenda Mahoney has a full report next. That and more when we come back.
If you see news happening in your area and you have a smartphone, you can see it, shoot it, send it. Make sure to hold your phone horizontally and send us your video. Or share your video with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for ACMi News.
Oops. Uh-oh. Sorry.
Get on top of it before they do. Every 24 minutes, tipped furniture or a falling TV sends an injured child to the emergency room. Preventing tip-over incidents is easy, inexpensive, and only takes 5 minutes. Learn how to secure your furniture and TVs to protect children at anchorit.gov.
Now that we have weathered some obnoxiously high, sticky summer weather conditions, what better way to mark these dog days of summer than with Fido Fest? ACMi's third annual Fido Fest will be served up like a fresh bowl of Alpo meat byproducts at Spy Pond Field on August 3rd at 7 p.m. Fido Fest is this area's only festival that celebrates lovable dogs and their human pets. Everyone is welcome to take homemade videos of their hardworking, off-plumb, and quirky canine, and then, on Saturday, August 3rd, join your loved ones to watch your own video of your four-legged owner, outdoors on the big screen while munching on popcorn, candy, or, if you're really brave, milk bones. All videos can be anywhere between a few seconds and 5 minutes. To learn more about submitting your visual homework, if your dog doesn't eat it, just go to acmi.tv and click on Fido Fest for details.
Despite the recent scorching temperatures, area students attended more than 100 enrichment classes townwide this week as part of Arlington Community Education's Summer Fun program, and ACMi was no exception. 12 middle school students came to Studio A all this week to learn how a television station operates. They toured our studios and took part in camera workshops, learned how to set up cameras and tripods, attended editing classes, staged fun video contests, and evaluated their work. This program is designed to appeal to kids of all ages and fields of interest, and includes future filmmakers from Arlington and surrounding communities. We caught up with them as they were laying out the stories for some pretty plot-hefty short films.
They're also producing short films, so they get to produce 2 short films this week. So today they're filming a silent film where they have to learn how to tell a story without using any words. And then on the very last day of camp, they shoot a 2-minute short film. So it's like a kind of like a 48-hour film festival where they just have 1 day to do it. We'll give them a genre, a character, a prop, and a line they have to use. And then they have the whole day to produce and edit their film. And then the camp ends with us watching what they produced, and they have an ice cream party.
Our story is about Santa Claus dictator who really wants to rule the world. But then Ben comes in as George Washington, and he's just like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So they have this big fight, and then George Washington ends up winning, but then Santa comes back to life. He was faking it, and they have the big fight again, and then they both die in an I rule.
Our silent film story is about, well, a person with a purse, a bad guy, and a sheriff of evil, where the bad guy wins, because bad guys need to win at some point. And there is an epic chase, because epic chases are awesome.
Pretty fertile imaginations, don't you think? You may be looking at the next Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg, or Catherine Bigelow. Then we can all brag that we knew them when.
On select Mondays throughout the summer, ACMi's Studio B is serving as a concert hall for our 3rd annual Studio B sessions. It's the perfect venue to showcase the talents of local artists. This year, we're focusing on area singer-songwriters with a laid-back acoustic feel, music that enables you to chill in order to get through these steamy summer days. One such talented singer-songwriter is Kayla Abitabile, one of our ACMi News interns. Here's a sample from her song Clueless from her first EP.
A quintessential lullaby, no sketchy alibi. Just listen what I have to say to you. Serenade me with all the lies, false sense of security from my delusion of love. Trials and tribulations, your regrets and expectations for life. crafted without a clue.
An update now to a story we first aired in June, just prior to the special election, that undoubtedly changed the course of Arlington and its commitment to education.
You'll recall, on June 11th, town residents voted to fund increasing costs of town services and to pay for a new high school. For years, the matter of building a new $291 million state-of-the-art facility to ease crowding and building conditions was the focus of many discussions with town leaders and residents.
Some of those meetings were contentious, but our Brenda Mahoney talked to those people who will be affected the most, the students. Brenda?
We got a chance to see what Arlington High School is like for students, visiting them in classrooms, the library, music and CAD lab, and hearing about how the school's conditions affect them. Some going as far as saying they wouldn't wish the building on anyone. Despite that, they try to foster a positive culture and will fight for a building that matches it.
I love Arlington High. I love my teachers and my classes.
It's a high energy level. It's pretty full of life.
Yeah.
It's a school full of really energetic kids, and it's a school with teachers who care about the students and want them to learn.
But at Arlington High School, a sprawling campus with buildings constructed nearly every generation from 1914 to the 1980s, it's getting harder to do that, say those who are in it.
When people ask me about my school, and they're like, oh, the beautiful pillars at the front. And I'm like, you should see the inside. It's horrible.
From the triangular-shaped French room to blocked views in science rooms to the cramped band room, the sentiment is the same.
I think the renovation, just a renovation wouldn't be enough to...
Yeah, I think it took us about, I don't know, 10 years to get an air conditioning unit installed in this room.
I think also in general, the school, you kind of walk around the hallways and it doesn't really always feel like a positive learning environment.
And that's why AHS could go from this to this. A $291 million brand new high school.
Having the new school says that we as an Arlington community value education and value the environment in which our students are learning.
Superintendent Kathleen Bodie and an appointed high school building committee have been working on coming up with a building plan for several years. In 2013, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges said the school would lose its accreditation unless things such as inadequate room sizes and blocked views are changed.
Some rooms are just built kind of, just designed kind of weirdly. It's just funny with there's big objects just in the way.
You don't understand how much time we spend working around the building. I have to do my labs in sections so that everybody can have some electricity. We'll make it work for now, as it is, but I think a new facility would really help us do more.
This is Old Hall, the oldest part of Arlington High School, originally built in 1914. It's a time when students weren't even required to go to high school. In fact, many didn't, working on local farms instead. But society changed, wars were fought, and the focus on education grew, and each time a new building with it. And now educators say it's time to start from scratch to serve this generation and the ones to come.
We actually have the entire body of this guitar all cut out just with this one machine.
We know that we teach differently now than we did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We know that the demands and expectations on education have changed. And we know that this facility doesn't support even the way we are teaching now.
I think that everyone initially believed that we were going to do a renovation addition. So in terms of space, we're not really getting anything new. We're getting it redesigned in a different way.
You can look straight across and see the other one right there. So the links don't border any classrooms. They are pretty much unsupervisable, so it's where a lot of kids go when they don't want to be seen.
The proposed school would reduce hallway space, and wings would be organized by subject. And it would accommodate a growing student body, 1,700 plus students, roughly 400 more than there are now.
Balcony, seriously? Balcony.
When showing these sophomore honors biology students the architectural rendering, surprise and excitement at what could be.
Okay, here we go.
That's big.
Ooh. Here's the gym.
Ooh.
It's gonna be awesome. I know I won't be able to like go to school in it, but like it's just like really exciting to think about.
Just like people in town, some students remiss on losing part of the front lawn and the columns that grace it, but willing to let them go for the greater good.
My parents and my grandparents also went to this high school, so it's kind of sad that history is being lost. But at the same time, I feel like it might the benefits that we're going to be able to reap from it is probably worth it.
A hope that adults will think the same when voting whether or not to change their future come June 11th.
I'd say do it. I would not wish this building on any of the kids who are younger than me.
If your headlight is out, you get arrested, right? Or at least fined by the police, right? I feel like the headlight's out.
Having a nice space to learn makes people want to learn. I think that's something really important for the future.
In the meantime, they'll do as the song says. Keep on fighting till the end.
This month, the town's school building committee selected Consigli Company as the construction manager for the massive high school project. Town leaders say Consigli will turn Arlington's vision for a modern, sustainable, and long-lasting academic institution into a reality. Finally, did you see it? If you missed it, we have it.
Courtesy of Jerry Borchets, a realtor from Leominster, check this out. Hundreds of witnesses reported seeing a meteor streak across our late-night skies on July 24th. This fireball could be seen from the Cape to Newburyport and as far west as Springfield. Reports also came in from New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Most stargazers said this meteor was visible for only 3 to 4 seconds. Now, Jerry saw the meteor too and took a peek through his security camera to see if he captured this heavenly performance. And voila, instant celestial light show. This could be the vanguard of the annual Perseid meteor shower, which makes an appearance in August. H.G. Wells would be so proud. That'll do it for us here in Studio A. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Eleni Kaminas.
And I'm James Milan. We hope you're beating this heat. If you're not, fall begins in just 8 weeks. Yikes. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMi Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.